So what's up, warriors? Welcome back to my channel. I'm so excited that you're here. Today we're just gonna catch up. I am feeling really good right now, and I think I have been so hesitant to share that because I know there's somebody right now who is in an excruciating amount of pain and they feel like they're alone and that nobody understands them. And so I feel like sometimes it could be insensitive to share when I feel really good, but I also want to give hope to those people who are in the trenches of trying to manage their HS, trying to get diagnosed, trying to find products that work for them. I want them to know in the middle of all of that chaos and trying to find the identity with living with HS that there are hopeful days ahead, that you can have a day where you are dealing with minimal pain and you're not having any drainage and you're on a treatment plan and you've got a good dermatologist. I mean, I feel like we have all had so much medical trauma, or we have so many similarities in our story that resonate with struggle. And for me too, there was a lot of my story, but the more I tell it now, the more gratitude I have for where I am right now in this space. Like, I was just sharing my story with some people in the pharma industry, and it just blew my mind of where I'm at, because I remember dealing with constant agonizing flare-ups and remembering proud, I guess I should say, of all that I've been able to do in spite of how much pain I have been in. And I think the more we start sharing about our HS and how much pain we're in, or the things that it burdens us with and what holds us back from doing specific things in life, the more people who know us are going to be able to have that little peephole into our life and what we deal with. And they start to look at us different too. My husband has so much appreciation for what I'm able to do on a good day, or even a bad day. Any day, he is very grateful for what I'm able to do because he knows the reality of my disease. And even though I'm not in the thick of multiple flares right now and dealing with the drainage and the blood and all of that, he knows that I've had days like that. And so he's just so proud of me. And I think we are not giving the people in our lives a chance to love us unconditionally when we're not sharing our HS journey. And so many people ask me, well, what finally made you comfortable enough to start talking about your HS? And I think genuinely the whole thing was uncomfortable. There wasn't a moment where I was like, you know what, I'm comfortable enough with my skin, I'm gonna post this video. The whole thing felt uncomfortable, but it's learning how to still get something done and combat that resistance. Of course, anytime I go to post a video, there's slight resistance because there's fear. There's fear that shows up in different ways, anxiousness, and it's like the voices in my head sometimes are like, what are people going to think about you? Sometimes I get really in my head when I meet somebody and they're like, oh my God, I love your content. And I would have never imagined that they were the type of people to watch my content. So then I get in my head like, oh, I shouldn't post this because so-and-so wouldn't want to see that. But it's just like, my page is an outlet for me. It was eye-opening to me that people really thought like, oh, you must be so comfortable. Like, no, the whole thing genuinely felt like a really uncomfortable thing to do. But I just remember feeling like it was bigger than me. And boy, was I right. It's so much bigger than me. Being a part of the HS community and this movement to bring awareness is an honor. It's a privilege. It's something that I definitely don't take for granted. I think I deal with imposter syndrome in a way of like, how can I show up in a way that makes you all proud? I don't know if you guys follow like cancel culture or other influencers, but like right now there is an influencer that I really enjoy watching her content. And she released like a pajama line, and the pajamas are kind of really expensive, especially just for the state that the economy is in right now. And the way her community switched up on her so fast for a price of pajamas. Like, and the crazy thing about it is that there's other pajama brands out there who have similar prices, but they're just climbing down this woman's throat for a mistake that she made by not, you know, doing the homework that it takes when running a business to learn your audience and who your target audience is and who actually would be the person supporting your business and can they afford that, is that in their price range, all yada yada yada. But I get so afraid of cancel culture, especially like from my own community. I would literally not be well. Like, if my HS people ever were like, nope, don't like her, I would just stop making content, honestly. That would be the straw that broke this camel's back. Because I love you guys so much. I don't even consider myself an influencer. I'm definitely more in the content creator realm. I consider myself more of a creative. I like being able to take my pain, my struggles, and put that in a way that it will resonate with you all in a form of content versus sharing links. I fucking hate sharing links. If I'm being honest, like, I don't know what my anxiety about it is, but it's really bad to the point where I was like, maybe I'm not an influencer. Because I don't want to influence people to spend money that they don't have. I don't want to influence people to be trying 100,000 billion different very expensive skincare products. I don't want to influence people to be living off of their credit cards. I just don't want to influence people to be doing those kind of things. So I try to really limit the amount of times I'm even sharing a single freaking link. But I did notice like my link usage has gone down with like my partnerships like My Magic Killer and Clean. And that's because I don't even like talking about them all the time, just because you guys see me use it every single day through my vlogs. And so I hope that is enough for you all to see like, hey, she's still using this. She must still love it. I'm gonna give it a try. Versus me shoving it down your throat and being like, here's the link, here's the link, here's the link, here's the link every single day. But I do appreciate those who have used my code or have ever used any link that I've ever posted to shop with whatever I do recommend at the time, because it does help me keep food on my family's table. We are going through, it's just been a year, so this will be the last month that we got, like, when Josh quit his job and I had a really low month financially right after having the baby, which was all fine and good because like I had really good months prior, so I was able to save and pay the rent and like do what I needed to do. But in that very odd time frame between like the baby being born and her being 2 months old, we had taken like a really big financial hit. And thankfully, you know, I was still able to cover the bills, but I was like, we need some food stamps. So I remember going back to reapply for the food stamps, and we got approved for just like a little bit, and we've been able to get those for like the last 4 months. Granted, if I would have put like any additional income that I made the last 4 months, then they would have took it away. So I kind of just like been chilling. But it's one of those things where like we had to fight for our life. No, seriously, not dramatic, but I feel like we had to fight for our life to get back on Medicaid insurance. And even though like all of the kids and Josh have Medicaid, I have CHP plus, which I don't even know the difference, honestly. But I know that they put my insurance into effect the actual day after I gave birth to Naomi. And so I remember when she sent me like the invoice saying that like the insurance didn't cover it, I just like shut down because of mentally I was just like, wait a minute, what? You know, like I already paid my portion to do my home birth like way before it was even time for me to give birth. So I was so taken back by that. And even still, it's something that like I'm gonna have to pay this month with my income that I get from Facebook that is finally fixed by the grace of the Lord. It's just like, you see where I'm going? Like the income and the expenses were just piling up. And then I was really dealing with imposter syndrome and like, am I really meant to do this influencing thing? Like, how can I make money? I make money different ways when it comes to social media, but I just want each way to be like 10,000 here, 10,000 there, 10,000. Like, I don't want nothing less than like 5,000 from each income stream. So that way I can live comfortably and be able to take care of my kids and be able to take care of other people and be able to take care of the HS community. Like, I want to get to the point where if first of all, this is my dream. My microphone's broken because people don't stay at my office, or else I would absolutely have it. But like, I want to have an HS talk show. I want to have a talk show, period. It doesn't have to be straight HS content, but I just want to talk. I just want to talk. I just want to share whatever's on my heart or whatever I want to talk about. And so I was dealing with a huge amount of imposter syndrome of like, you can't do this, like, you're not good enough, your content's not good enough, you don't have the right equipment, you need the newest equipment, like, and really I have every single thing that I need. But we get in our heads, and especially somebody who has HS, I'm like, oh, I'm definitely like not the one for the job. Especially when, yes, I'm on TV, and yes, I have this amazing community and all of these things, but a lot of what I do is very HS focused. And I know that like when it comes to the things that I really want to do next is like breaking into the beauty industry, trying some modeling out, like things like that, acting, I want to have fun, but like I want to make impact. And I'm trying to dabble into industries that are like quite very toxic. And I am kind of like a lone ranger, so I don't really know how I'm gonna do with all of that. So I'm just trying to see, what God wants me to do. I'm trying to be disciplined. I'm trying to learn discipline and like what that actually looks like, instead of being unrealistic and setting things that are so out of reach that I cannot reach them in a time frame that I'm setting for myself. So then I will get either burnt out or discouraged because I won't reach the goal. So like that's just where I'm at, and I think people deal with this all around the board. It's not just a content creator thing. I think people with HS probably have a fear of upgrading their life, just because we are like, anything can happen. I can have, stress is a huge trigger for me. Something can stress me out, and now I'm flaring. I was talking about this with, so first of all, I know I'm all over the place, but I had this company, I had these people reach out to me, and they were like, we would love to make an AI avatar of you, so that way you can share your story with all these medical professionals so we can make change. But we don't want to just like read your story. We want you to be there without you being there. So like they created this AR avatar of me. So I had to talk to the AI people and like tell them my story. And I was talking about how they were asking me like, how does it impact you financially having HS? And even though they were going in the direction of how much is wound care, how much do you pay in gas to get to your doctor's appointments, because my dermatologist is an hour and a half away, childcare, all of those things, those are expenses, baby. But I was talking to him about how many times I quit a job, like straight up, no call, no show. Don't care what they think about me. Don't care if they think I am the laziest employee on the world. So rude of us to do that. And I look back and I'm like, it's definitely not the way to do that, but that's how deep the shame goes in the isolation when you're flaring. And I have quit probably between like at least 3 to 5 jobs, because I rather just quit and not show up and you think I'm so undependable than explain to you and say, I'm dealing with a flare on my hoo-ha, or I have some flares on my butt that's, I can't walk today because of an abscess on my thigh. And they're like, where'd you get that, I used to go to the hospital to get an incision and a drainage, which is not the best course of treatment. It has 100% reoccurrence rate, so it's probably something we should be avoiding when we go there now. If you are still going to the urgent care, which if you are, that's okay. You don't know what you don't know. But anyways, I would go to the hospital for an incision and drainage. And at that time, not even at the time, but like, when people usually go to the hospital, they post a picture, or like they, the little picture of your wristband. At the time, I had Snapchat, like, pray for me. But I wouldn't even do that. I wouldn't even be like, pray for me. I would like try to hide the fact that I needed to go to the ER, because I didn't want anybody to ask why I had to go there. You know, like, oh, I just need to go get this abscess drained on my thighs, on my groin, on behind my ear. You know, it just used to be insane. And then the one time I actually did take somebody with me to the ER, he thought I was lying about my pain because there was really nothing that they could do for me by the time I got to the ER. It was already like self-lanced. So they just kind of like packed it, gave me some antibiotic or some IV fluids, and then they sent me on my way. I literally didn't even get pain medication besides like probably an Advil. And so I just remember him thinking like I was so full of shit. And at that point I was like, this is not the person for me. Like, one, he throws my scars back in my face, and two, like, he thinks that I'm lying about this kind of pain. I woke up at like the middle of the night in so much pain. It was like, I need to go to the emergency room. Like, you think that I just wanted to razzle dazzle our morning. Like, it's just insane. So there's so much that we have gone through in our HS journey that we need to unpack, that we don't even realize that we need to unpack it and kind of work through that trauma until we meet other HS warriors. We find the similar struggles in their story. And that is why I say it's so important to tell your story. Maybe you're using social media. I think everybody should use social media. You do not have to do it in the same way I do it per se, as like showing your scars and being super vulnerable in that way. But I mean, hopping on and like going live and talking about your story, or, you know, hopping in front of a camera and challenging yourself to say, you know, a snippet of your story in 90 seconds. It doesn't have to be the same information over and over. We have so many stories within our stories and within ourselves. But it's just really important that we get out and we start talking about them, because telling our story, that is exactly like, people ask, how are you able to go on these trips? I talk about my story. And when I say my story, the people who watch my content, who can't do anything about anything, they're like, ooh, that's good. She went to the ER and she got incision and drainages and nobody knew what HS is. Well, that shows we need to shed light on those medical professionals in that establishment. How can we get them more educated on HS? So it's us telling our story shows them the holes and the gaps that are in the medical world to kind of really help fill them and meet the patient need. So that's all that it takes. It's not, you don't have to be anybody special. You don't have to have like a specific stage or be diagnosed 10 years ago or...
Look who wiped my butt.
Yes. Yes, I'll wipe your butt. I'll meet you in the bathroom. You don't have to be anybody special. You just have to speak your truth and share your story. And I think you will be empowered. You will be validating yourself when you do that. And just know that when you do, I am very proud of you, whether it's on this app or it's in person to somebody. And I want you to know that I simply would not be the patient advocate that I am if it was not for HS Connect. So make sure you guys go give them a follow and you check them out, because there are so many amazing resources, research papers and articles, patient product recommendations, all of these things. You can even find dermatologists who are familiar with HS and see if there's any near you, which is an amazing tool to have and utilize. So I will link them in the description box. If you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns, please put them in the comment section. And I look forward to our next little sit down. I love you guys. Bye.